Citizens speak out. People in Northern Africa, the Middle East and elsewhere have continued standing up for their rights and pro-democracy demands despite risks to their own safety. The countries with situations giving rise to such events include Algeria, Argentina, Armenia, Australia, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Belgium, Bolivia, Brazil, Burkina Faso, Chile, China, Côte d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, Croatia, Djibouti, Egypt, Greece, Honduras, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Malaysia, Mauritania, Morocco, North Korea, Oman, Pakistan, Palestine, Panama, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Swaziland, Tunisia, Turkey, Turkish Cyprus, United Kingdom, United States, Venezuela, and Yemen.
In Syria, 5 people lost their lives on Friday, March 18th, following protests in several cities where police used force to disperse crowds, with UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon speaking out against the use of force. Also on Friday, the Bahraini government demolished a landmark statue in capital city Manama's Pearl Square, which had been the focal point for peaceful protests. UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon phoned King Hamad to express his concern over reports that Bahraini and Saudi troops had been using excessive force against unarmed civilians and medical personnel, stating that these actions may breach international humanitarian and human rights law. Algeria's Movement of Society for Peace Party also spoke out against foreign troops being brought into Bahrain to contain protests, stating their presence was likely to escalate the situation instead.
U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton called upon Bahraini, Saudi and other nations' security forces in Bahrain to end the violence and for all parties to engage in peaceful dialogue. Having declined to participate in Bahrain's military forces, Kuwait instead sent a medical convoy of 53 doctors, 21 ambulances and other vehicles, while Iran's Red Crescent Society expressed a willingness to provide the Bahraini people with medical aid. In Yemen, after police opened fire on pro-democracy protesters, causing 50 fatalities and injury to hundreds, Yemeni ambassador to Lebanon, Abu al-Raz, and 2 prominent members of the Yemeni ruling party resigned in protest of the violence. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ramin Mehmanparast also spoke out against the brutality and the use of foreign security forces against peaceful citizens. In Côte d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, ongoing conflict since contested presidential elections last year appeared closer to resolution as incumbent President Laurent Gbagbo indicated willingness for the first time to enter into dialogue that would resolve the dispute with Alassane Ouattara, who was declared by the international community to have won the November 2010 presidential elections.
Despite calls made by the Libyan government for international observers to observe its compliance with a ceasefire, Al Jazeera reported that explosions occurred in Benghazi, some strong enough to shake buildings, indicating that violence against pro-democracy citizens continued.
By Saturday, thousands of people were fleeing Benghazi because of the fighting, which intensified over the course of the day.
During an internationally televised address, U.S. President Barack Obama clarified the terms of the no-fly zone resolution that had been voted by the UN Security Council to protect Libyan citizens from harm. Specifically, the government must cease all attacks, withdraw troops from key cities in the east and the west, restore water, gas, and electricity, and allow humanitarian assistance to reach the people of Libya. Addressing international leaders meeting to discuss enacting these UN-sanctioned efforts to protect Libyan citizens, U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton stated it is time for the international community to take action, with planes from France being among the first to help enforce the no-fly zone. French President Nicolas Sarkozy stated they were intended to prevent Libyan government air attacks on civilians, as well as intervene in the case of armored vehicles threatening unarmed people. Other international forces are already arriving in Libya, including the U.S. and Britain.
Because the Libyan government was not responding to a ceasefire request from the United Nations, U.S. President Barack Obama stated that the military option of imposing a no-fly zone is a reluctant choice, but one that must be carried out to protect the Libyan people who are being attacked by their own government with no mercy, according to latest reports. President Sarkozy also said the same, emphasizing that as soon as the Libyan aggression stops, the diplomatic door will open.
On Saturday, an Al Jazeera team of 2 journalists and 2 camerapersons from Tunisia, Mauritania, Norway, and the United Kingdom were detained by Libyan government officials while reporting in western Libya, on the same day that citizen journalist Mohammed Al-Nabous, founder of the live stream channel called Free Libya, was killed while reporting on government attacks in the Libyan city of Benghazi.
Following a number of demonstrations calling for change, President Abdelaziz Bouteflika of Algeria promised to follow up the recent lifting of the nation's state of emergency with political reform.
After peaceful pro-democracy protests in February resulted in significant political reforms, Egyptians arrived on Saturday in record numbers at the polls, waiting quietly in long lines to vote on a referendum proposing constitutional amendments designed to prepare for parliamentary elections in June and a presidential vote in August.
With deep sorrow for the loss of precious lives, we pray for an end to all conflicts and that heaven may bless the people of every nation to live in freedom, dignity, safety, and peace.